I want to do a countdown. That way I feel more professional. Hello and welcome to the Ramcast. Today we have our hosts Savannah, Stan, and Gulson. And then we have our special guest,
Lejla.
It's so nice to meet you, Lejla. So how's your day been? You know,
I haven't been doing anything. Just at home with 4 dogs.
I have dogs too, and they are chaotic. They're very.
What, do you have your other guest here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They stay under the chair.
Aww.
Okay, no, that's good. So you have,
So this is Hazel. She's my psychiatric service dog. And then at my house, I live with my brother, so he has we don't know where she is. Her name is Sophie. His girlfriend has a pit bull Australian German Shepherd mix,
Ooh.
Delilah. And then their friend just moved in, and she has a husky lab mix named Fiona.
I have a lab, and then she had puppies a long time ago, about 2 years ago, and they're a lab mix, and he's a mix of a mix. Like, their dad is like 5 different breeds in one. So he's the most chaotic dog I have ever had in my life. So Lejla is a alumni. That's the word I've been looking for all day.
Right.
An alumni of MVTHS.
class of what?
2020.
Class of
2020? You survived. That should be a shirt. I survived graduation 2020. That should be the shirt instead of like senior 2020. It should be I survived. That's it. But Lejla is an artist. She does all kinds of different types of art, and that's what we're mainly going to be talking about today, along with mental health. So, Stan, why don't you start us off with the first question?
What sort of things do you convey in your works of art?
So I convey like experiences that I have with my schizoaffective disorder and my severe depression and anxiety. So for a schizo episode, if I see something, then I'll go and draw it and like put the drawing into a photograph of what was happening in that moment.
Kind of like reminds me how some people can draw their dreams, and it just looks like a jumbled mashup of like nothingness, but it still like conveys an emotion.
Yeah.
I think that kind of art is like very admirable, in my opinion, because you can draw something that's just a line, and millions of people will see it, and they're like, I see 10 different emotions from this, and it's kind of powerful if you think about it.
Yeah.
Do you think it could be therapeutic for other people to do the same types of work that you do?
Yeah. What I do is very therapeutic. I actually take some of my photos into therapy and we talk about it. It helps because I don't really express my feelings verbally, so when I do photos and drawings, it helps me get that point across.
I can second that. She, not the most verbal person, very visual.
Yeah.
So what kind of mediums do you use as an artist?
I use my camera, and then I also like put the photo into my iPad or on my iMac, and I'll draw the figure or elements that I want to add into the photo, and on different layers and put them on there.
So we actually have like a little bit of your art on the table, and Golson thought we might want to oogle at it a little bit, so pass one out to everybody.
We'll start with this one. We'll put this one up, and we'll get a good shot of it on the camera. Look at that. So, what do we want to ask?
That's a good question. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Lejla, can tell us the name of this one.
Okay, that's Broken Switch.
Broken Switch. So what are you? We'll we'll set it back on the table. What like feeling are you trying to relay here?
So like, kind of like frustration, like you can't really turn the mental illness off and on. It just comes on when it wants to, and
Yeah.
then it'll stay however long, and then it'll just go off. The switch is broken.
So I don't want to step on anybody's feet here, but what I love about this piece, when you call it, switch, right?
Yeah.
I get glitches from this. And just what you just described about mental health, if you're working with technology, a glitch always happens the worst, the worst possible time, right?
Yeah.
So you have that same situation, but it's not a technology glitch. It's a personal mental health glitch, and it's never convenient, I'm guessing.
Never.
You can't plan this stuff.
No.
Like, as somebody, I don't really struggle with a whole ton of mental illness, and I'm not going to kind of explain it in detail because this isn't my show, and that's a little too personal. But as somebody who kind of deals with a little bit of mental illness, I do understand that from that standpoint of it just happens, and you can't change it. Or the fact that I am around people in this high school sometimes, and they'll go through something, and nobody understands what they're doing. And I'm like, I understand the fact, I don't understand them, but I can understand the feeling of, I'm not in control at the moment. Like, I don't have control over the fact that, I said this or I did this. Some people don't have control over their their mentality, and it's scary. Like, I feel really, really bad for these people because I'm like, they look like they're struggling a lot, and I just feel so bad for them. So we'll go on to, next art piece.
Okay. And Lejla?
This is skeletons in my head.
Wow.
I actually really like the name of it.
Yeah, that name's like top tier.
Very much.
Top tier, yeah, upper.
S tier, all right.
We have a question here earlier that one of you guys thought of. I think you thought of this question,
Oh, yeah.
and it's on our.
Yeah.
I'm going to read it though, since
I don't mind.
and this one kind of makes me. Have you ever had backlash, like people not happy with your art because of it's not cheerful, or it's not? They're like, hey, this isn't positive for you to express this in art. Has that happened, or has that never happened to you?
Or even like a way of people being like, that's not appropriate. You shouldn't be drawing that. And it's like,
Yeah.
but it's my art.
No, not really.
Good. Yeah, I think the health, the people understand this now,
Yeah.
and in the past, not as much, maybe. Like, oh, you're drawing weird things or you're creating weird things. You shouldn't do that. And that's like, yeah, but this is how it's like for you, this is how I express feelings. I don't throw fits, Cool.
It reminds me of the fact that in our society kind of today, we put mental health at like the bottom of the barrel, and we put physical health over that. And it's just, we should be holding both of those at the same level because they're both equally as important to somebody.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Could I also say that, like, I was having a big dumb moment, and I didn't recognize that it was called skeletons in my head because there were skeletons on there.
Bennett, can you get a zoom in? Can you get zoomed in completely on the skull here? The top of the skull. Okay, so yeah, it's skeletons in my head because there's a skeleton in her head. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a skeleton.
Yeah.
I thought that the title was symbolic for it.
Well, besides the skeletons in your head, you've applied some effects here to almost skeletonize your face, which I think is really, it just fits the overall. It gives a piece unity. We have multiple, and that's another thing too. Your pieces they're working on multiple levels here. You have the big picture, and then you have small picture inside big picture that you can kind of like. It gives a lot to look at. So, excellent.
Yeah, I really like the way that it looks like it's kind of pieced together in different ways, and I really like that about it because you don't kind of see a lot of art like that. You see more art that's like one big giant main piece that's all put together at the exact same time. but then you have, like, I really like art that's just, it looks like it's a collage of different things, because I feel like it shows off more emotion than any, landscape painting that you could ever see, or a, picture of a woman crying. I feel like collages give off so much more emotion, or just art like this gives off so much more emotion than that of something that's a full, drawing that's, a landscape, a, person.
And she did collages in my 2D design class, and that was one of the first. Were you in that class? Were you in that? You weren't in that class.
I'm in that class this semester.
But that was a long time ago. I was like, but yeah, it seems like you've been around here for 5 or 6 years, right? No, I'm just kidding. I remember having you forever. No, but that was 4 years ago. That would have been 6 years ago at this point.
I think so.
6 years ago, or no, that would have been your sophomore year.
Yeah.
So it's a long time ago. But you did awesome collages back then that were a lot like your photographs today, but you did one with like broken, achieving some of the same effects physically, like broken CDs. I remember that was really effective. Pieces of glass in the collage. Let's get. This is a great question. Let's get this one in.
All right. So, how does creating visual art assist you with understanding yourself, or accepting yourself, or just healing, mentally? And also, what are some other things you've learned about yourself, like with this art?
So, it helps me because I'm expressing myself, but I'm learning that it's like not normal, because I used to just, like, when I was a kid, I used to just think it was just a phase I was going through and I'd just get over it. But it's not. It's something I've got to live with and accept.
Some of the art that, in my life that I've seen that deals with emotion is just kind of like thrown together. And honestly, I've actually wanted to try it before, where I just don't do any thinking. I just throw paint on a canvas and I go, that's it. That one right there, sir.
So when you're talking about not feeling normal, are you talking about your mental health issues, or are you talking about the art you created, or is it kind of connected?
It's kind of connected, because I look at other art pieces and it's like landscapes, and then it's like smiling faces, and then I look at my art and it's like bloody, and there's lots of blood.
There's a piece that so just to explain for our audience, this is Lejla's personal work. This is not something that you're doing for any reason other than to express yourself, and it's not for a class, right?
No.
Okay. So one of the pieces you sent me, one of my favorite pieces from the group, just what you just said, it's your family. Yeah. It's a beautiful sunny day. Everybody's happy and smiling, but the section with you has been ripped out and replaced. I wish I'd printed that one out, but we can put it on the screen. Macy can put this one on the screen in editing.
You better show me it later. That sounds cool.
It is a really great piece. It was my favorite piece. You gave me 3. These were your 3 favorites. Yeah. That one was my favorite because it perfectly captures that whole, to me, like that feeling of your work, whereas like everybody's bright and cheery, the world's happy, but why don't I feel that way? Yeah. And this is the way I feel, and it sucks, but it's the way I feel. Yeah. And then you express it with your art. There was something else too, and I have more inside information here than you guys have.
Over here.
I'm gonna, Lejla, this kind of started with a video you sent Miss Michaels, and I think our next question is gonna maybe touch on her a little bit.
When did you realize that making visual art could help you through your personal struggles?
I'd probably say in 2018, right after I got sent to Centerpoint, which is a mental health hospital, for a week, like right before Christmas. So I was in there, and they've got art therapy, and and we were drawing and then had free time. That's kind of where I was like, I could probably express myself in my art.
When did you start doing like that artwork, you know, more often and kind of at school? When you started doing it at school, what were kind of some of the people's like reactions to it?
When I started doing it at school, it was probably my senior year. A lot of people were moved by it and thought it was really good. Because I had this one picture where it was like red and blue, and it's like
I remember that one.
the red was me screaming and then the blue was me smiling.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like transparent.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was a great piece. AP art.
Yeah.
Was that a big turning point for you?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's where you found your focus more than anywhere else.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about that?
It was the first time I like had a focus and point on like all the pieces actually connecting together.
Yeah. And that's a specific challenge of AP art.
Yeah.
It's not a one-off piece. You guys don't know this. You will next year. You're going to, no, you're not.
Maya
Jennifer is. You won't. Maya will next year.
Yeah.
Soon. Okay. So I'm going to steal a question. What do you want viewers to understand or know? When you create a work of art, what do you message about yourself do you want to try to put into a work of art?
The message by myself, probably that it's not easy living with mental health, but I still make it by.
Yeah. Are you getting by good?
Yeah.
Good.
So how do you plan, like in the future, to continue, like using your art as self-expression?
Probably more photographs, doing more digital art, because I do spend a lot of time at home right now. I work like 2-3 days a week, so I've got a lot of time on my hands, and I do a lot of crafting. And between those times, sometimes photo ideas will pop into my head, and I'm on to the next project.
Your video.
Yeah.
We love that video. It was shared with me from Miss Michaels. Tell us a little bit about your video. They don't know about it because I neglected telling them. But
Yeah.
sorry.
He kind of literally just said, "Hey, we're doing an interview Tuesday," and then we were just finishing up the questions as you walked in. So he kind of was unprepared today.
And the
Yeah.
fact that you know about all of these other things,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
you haven't at all. This is the first time we've seen your art.
You know, I'll place the host of the day crown on you
Yeah, where's your crown at? It'd be great.
in my car.
Oh, yeah.
It's in my car.
I didn't take it home.
Sorry.
But to go back on what he said, tell us about your video that you had made.
So the video was to give an insight, like, to what it was like growing up, to show that I was technically 100% normal growing up. But then when, like, middle school hit and high school on, I just started going downhill. And there was nothing in my past that contributed to it. It was there already. So
There wasn't a switch. There
Yeah.
wasn't there wasn't a traumatic event.
yeah.
And that's something a lot of people misunderstand. This is a good question. It's not on our list. What kind of misconceptions do you find with mental health you have to educate people about or you're constantly dealing with?
That there doesn't always have to be trauma. Like, they think, oh, something must have happened to you, but nothing's happened to me. And I've still got mental health problems. And
So what do you think will happen to kind of the future of art? Like, do you think that this kind of art style and, just showing more emotion more than, like, making it more important for the emotion rather than the art piece? Like, do you think this will be, bigger in the future? And do you think that other people kind of take off with this and kind of, really, really like the idea of let's show how, like, we feel and how we kind of express ourselves rather than, I'll draw, hyper detailed drawing of, this actress that I like.
Yeah, because as the world moves on, they're becoming more accepting of mental health and not, putting it as crazy or like a bad thing. So I think it could move on, and more people will do it to express emotions.
I know, like,
We've got a final art piece here to share. Tell us the name of this one.
December 18th.
December 18th.
I really like that name.
This is a few days before Christmas.
Yes.
Okay. This one kind of, more than these first two, this one sort of tells a story, I think. Do you want to kind of share anything about that story or what's going on here?
So December 18th at 2 a.m., I took about 75 pills to try to end my life. And it didn't work, obviously. But my mom had dropped me off at school and then realized something was wrong. So she picked me back up and took me home. And she told me to go put a letter in the mailbox. Well, I guess I put it in the mailbox, and on the way coming back into the house, I describe it as like I stepped through a portal because I walked up to the door and it was locked. But it was actually open. So I knocked on the door, and that is actually what answered the door.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And you saw that.
Yes.
How long did you see it for?
It was just a couple of seconds
Yeah.
before it disappeared, and then my mom came out of her room and asked me who answered the door, but I couldn't tell her who answered the door. She just kept asking me who answered the door.
And had you seen this before, or was this?
That was the first time I had seen him full body.
Yeah.
I had seen him before, like in my past, but I would see like maybe his feet under the door,
Yeah.
or I might just see a shadowy figure in the distance.
Yeah. Wow.
I think it's incredible that you can take a couple seconds of like an image in your mind and just draw it basically almost from like memory.
I wanted to ask you too. So I was really curious about this piece. There's some stuff here.
Yeah.
There's a cooler. What else we got?
Looks like
It's
weed
like bug
spray.
spray or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that significant in any way, or was that just?
No, that just sits on the porch.
That just sits on the porch? Okay. It kind of almost looked like you kind of wanted to show that. And then we've got a lot of blood.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of smears. We've got a handprint up here. Really eerie lighting, deep
Yeah.
shadows.
I really like how the blood on the wall, at least, it looks more like decoration that's just sat on the house, and then you
Yeah.
have what looks like real blood that's actually like on the side of it over here instead of, what looks like a 2-year-old just doing little drips. Not in any way am I being mean with that. I thought it was just funny to say that.
I feel like we need to have a quick, just almost like public service announcement real fast here about suicide prevention and suicide awareness. And like,
I also have one thing to add on to that.
yeah, go ahead.
The reason that we have posters all over the school of the number of suicide prevention is there for people who need it. It is not there for you to just take the number and run away with it, or take 5 of the numbers and run away with it.
Yeah.
I have seen most of the ones, at least most of the ones that I've seen today, which I passed by a whole bunch of billboards that have them, all of them are gone.
Yeah.
Half the paper is
And-
just ripped off, and I'm like, somebody could have needed that.
I would also like to add something onto that. If you're not able to find the paper, it is also on the back of your student ID.
Yes, and it's
Oh, wow.
also a thing you can Google as well, and it's just weird that kids in this school think it's just such a funny joke to take, the number and just laugh off with their friends.
There could be a lot of people taking it because they need it too, but
Yeah, but I've seen groups and groups and groups of kids who will just
Okay.
take it and take it and
so
take
that's
it.
our
I'm like,
public
that's-
service announcement.
That's just disrespectful in my
Yeah.
eyes. You are scum.
From your experience, what should somebody who's feeling this way, what would you advise them to do? Step one.
Definitely tell someone that you can trust to help you take those steps to get to a therapist or get to a place where you feel stable and healthy.
Then what comes next? I'm throwing you on the spot here. Putting you on the spot.
Lots of money on therapy.
Yeah, there's lots of
So,
money.
okay, that's a good question. What would be a very good alternative to therapy if it is like too expensive?
Make art.
Yeah.
Make art. You don't have to pay too much for
We'll
this.
hold up all three of them.
Yeah, make art.
You're holding two.
It's like therapy that
There you go.
you don't have to pay for.
Yeah.
I know that therapy for people is not easy.
Yeah.
You found that it's been really beneficial.
Yeah.
You would recommend that?
Yes. 100%.
That's cool. They're bringing in. We got messages coming in from
no.
from
Oh,
the
no.
control booth. If you saw Lynn,
Oh no.
okay,
That'll be
Yeah.
a blooper.
good message from the control booth.
That'll be a blooper.
Probably cut that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just real fast. I want to talk real quick about photography and stuff because that's where I kind of discovered you had started taking pictures. You had this photo album. Do you still have that photo album?
I've got a new one actually.
You got a new one. Do you still have that original group of photos?
I think so.
It was so cool, yeah. So Lejla had a photo album as a freshman in basic art that she was just looking at, and the photos, I mean, like, they blew my mind. They were just, they like, because they were so, and I don't know if this is just you uniquely or whatever, but they were dark without being, like, they didn't have this kind of stuff going on in them, very personal, but it was almost like you were taking photos around the world, around your world, that had a dark, like, you were noticing things to me that were just not happy and shiny, so, and that was freshman year, and that, anyway, I don't know if I have a question about that, I just wanted to say it. Are you still taking just pictures of things like that? You
Yeah.
still doing that?
Yeah.
Do you want to, like, try to make art the rest of your life? Do you have any plans for that? Because, I mean, you're here because you want to be here. You reached out to us in a way.
Yeah.
And what do you want to, like, kind of finish off with here, final thoughts? And
Well, I kind of just want to make art. Probably not full time, but I'll probably definitely keep doing it as like a hobby, just and putting it out there, so that people don't feel like they're the only one going through mental health. Cause I've got a lot of ideas for photographs and things, so that's probably what I'll do.
So if somebody is starting, like say somebody is starting to do, like wanting to actually do this, how would you say as like a good, I guess, inspirational quote in a way to kind of drive them to just go out and do the art? Or if they're like struggling to come up with an idea?
I mean, for me, I would take photos or, find some inspiration pics and just let your brain do the rest.
Are you? How are you getting your art to the public? What are you?
Like on social media.
You doing social media?
Yeah.
You doing Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. If you give us your Instagram, you can email it me later. We'll put that on screen.
Yeah.
And
That's
we'll
what I was
put
about
it
to
in the
say,
video
it's
description.
somewhere up here.
Check the description down below for Lejla's. When you like and subscribe, check the subscription for Lejla's social media. Are you involved, and I know we're getting kind of short on time here. Everybody's got to go home. Are you involved in any like art groups or anything? Are you involved with working with other people or trying to work with others, or do you like to stay solo?
I'm not really in any art groups.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to working with people.
Yeah.
Usually just work on my own.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I have one more.
Go ahead.
If an art gallery come up to you and they were like, "We really like your art. We want to put it in our gallery," how would you actually kind of react to that?
It'd be pretty cool if it was an art gallery.
And it is going to be an art gallery in a way because you're going to be one of our featured alumni artists at the D201. That's a new thing we're adding this year. Our D201s are like final art show.
Yeah, it's going to be when, Golson? Tell everybody about all the details. That way
Tuesday.
they can come.
Tuesday, the 3rd of May, which is 1 week from the day we're recording this.
Yep.
This will probably be out by the end of the week. You can see Lejla's pieces. You can see the art. And we have music, choir, band, orchestra perform. It's a big night. If you can make it, it'd be awesome. I'm sure people would love to talk to you. Hey, let's ask her the hot dog question.
Oh, really?
Let's do it real
All
quick.
right, I'll go get it.
Do we
I
need
put it
a
over
board?
there.
We weren't going to do it, but I'm looking over here. Shauna would.
All right, where's the marker?
Shauna's our inspiration.
Where's
real
the
quick.
marker?
This is sort of a
We need a whiteboard.
long-running gag. You don't need a marker. Just bring the board over.
Okay, no.
Oh,
I'll do
she's
it.
gonna go get
Shauna,
the. She's
Shauna,
in charge in
no.
here.
Shauna,
She can.
No.
Oh, let her in. Let her in. Let her in. Let her in.
Fine.
We're almost done.
Where's the marker?
we can't find it. We have to pretend like we have one. We're not
Okay.
using Sharpie.
Okay.
Yeah, can't use Sharpie. We'll never get rid of it. Okay, you ask her the question. This is sort of a.
Make sure
All
you
right.
say the thing for YouTube.
All right. So this is the hot dog board. Basically, this is all of our answers for the question. Oh my god, I'm out of breath. I got up pretty quickly.
You might want to like shout because you don't have a mic.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Here you go.
So this is the hot dog board. Basically, I'm gonna ask you this question, which is, do you think a hot dog is a sandwich or a sub? You can answer with any one of these, or you can make up an answer on your own. Just whatever.
It's kind of our big shtick now.
Man, I really got out of that chair fast. And Macy just told me
Yeah,
a
you
hot dog
could've-
question. I
yeah.
saw her lift the board and I scrambled like,
I heard.
yeah.
Sub.
So
It's a sub?
Woo!
we're just putting in a
Three.
magnifying mark there.
We're up to 3 on sub.
Yeah, let's go.
Thank you.
Make sure to like and sub
Yeah.
like a hot dog.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah,
All right.
like and sub like a hot
Hey.
dog. Do it now.
Let's take us out.
So, this has been the Ramcast with your hosts Vanna, Stan, and Golson with our guest, Lejla.
And our other special guest, Hazel.
And Hazel, the extra
Who's-
special guest.
I think
Under
wisely hiding under the chair. Yeah, that could have been a whole separate podcast to talk about Hazel. I mean, talk dogs and stuff. We have four cats that live at our house and one that lives on our porch.
Gosh.
And
You are almost worse than Maya.
Yeah.
She has 7.
are we still recording?
Well, you want to compete?
All right.
I'll
Thank you.
compete
Good
with
night.
you.
Ramcast out.
Are we still recording?